Hello everyone, and welcome to Porterhause Fallout 4 Mod Reviews. I'm your host, Porterhause, and that's no bull. That's right, post-apocalypse fans, a Fallout 4 review. Now, I know it has been a long time since I reviewed any Fallout 4 mods, and, well, there was a reason for that. Now, while the game was not as blatantly buggy as Skyrim was on its first release, the bugs are definitely there. They're more persistent, and I feel that they're more numerous. They're just smaller bugs, so you don't really see them that well. Now, I've had everything from stutters to texture loading issues, and that has plagued me since the beginning. But Porter, you have a modded game. Couldn't that be the reason, you may ask? Well, you're half right. I'll address the mod issue in a bit, but first I will tell you about an experiment I did with some help. I have a friend of mine that wanted to play Fallout 4 on PC, so I bought him a copy of it through Steam and he loaded it on up. Now, I asked him not to mod it right off the bat and to do some test runs for me with a nice fresh copy on a better rig than mine. Well, he had the same errors in the same locations. The Museum of Freedom in Concord is especially buggy. Now, as far as mods go, a lot of what I wanted to try required the Fallout script extender, and somewhere along the line that delivered the coup de grace that just finished my game. After a long series of repairs and new game breaks, coupled with Bethesda's constant tiny updates that would screw up the Fallout script extender all over again, I finally just stepped away. My saves were horribly corrupted and unplayable unless I went back to like really old saves, like when I first started. I played through the game without any mods on it just to test it. So anyway, that was kind of what was going on. Now, recently I had an online discussion with a chap that was having the same issues, and being a programmer, he dug into his save files and wrote a nice little utility that cleaned out all the script extender elements out of the save files, and then his game started working. Well, I asked him for a copy of that utility, but because of the coding involved, there is no real easy interface. It's all command line interface, in fact. And basically you put the save file in and it output all this information, and then you could alter that information and re-input it back in, and that's basically what he did to clean out all these bad Fallout script extender issues he was having. Now, instead, he asked me to send him a copy of one of my save files. I took one of my latest, sent it to him, he cleaned it for me and sent it back. Now, following his instructions, I completely cleared Fallout script extender off of my computer and then loaded up that save, and voila, she ran like a dream. Now, I very carefully and cautiously updated all of my mods and re-added Fallout script extender, and it has just been running fantastic. Now, just so you know, my game's going to look a bit different. I've been running a new EMB called Visceral and had to completely rebuild Tish's CBBE presets from the ground up. I'm not sure what happened with that, but they were all screwed up and her body looked really weird, so I just dumped it and started over again from scratch. Well, long story short, my game not only looks great, but it runs great, so I've been really, really happy. Anyway, on with the review. I'm going to keep it short and review just a single mod, my first time out of the chute in a while. And this sweet little weapon mod really caught my eye. This is Bulldog 308 by Shibakari554. A Japanese modsmith. This is his very first offering, and while it is not perfect, it is still very, very good. The rifle can be constructed at the chemical workbench under a category by the same name. Now, also in that section, there are two other items, the fire selector and the scope adjuster. Be sure to craft those as well. They are important. The names should give you an inkling of what they do, but I will be covering those later. Now, the rifle can then be taken to the gunsmith's workbench and modified in several ways. Now, for now, there is only the one receiver, and I was talking with Shibakari, and I think it's kind of hard for us to communicate because his English isn't great. My Japanese is almost non-existent, but sounded to me like he's decided not to add more receivers. But there are also two barrels, 16 and 21, 3 grips, stock, vertical and angle, 5 sights/scopes, iron, holographic with magnifier, ACOG, and a 6x scope. Now there are 3 magazine sizes, 20, 30, and 50. And finally there are 4 muzzles, stock, flash hider, muzzle brake, and at the time of this review the author added a suppressor. Now there's a neat bit about the suppressor, and I will tell you about that in just a bit. The rifle is sleek, and being .308, it is very powerful. Now, just so you know, .308 is also known as 7.62. Now, about the other components you crafted with the rifle, these allow you to change the fire rate and the scope magnification on the fly, but you must have the rifle equipped and only one rifle in your inventory at the time for it to work. Alright folks, what the mod author has done here is once you have made these 2 items in the chemistry lab, you can go into your inventory and they'll be under aid, and you can favorite these. I have actually already done that. I have set them up so that they are my 0 and my minus key on my keyboard. And what this allows you to do is if you hit the well, in my case, since this is the fire selector, you can go from semi-automatic to fully automatic and back again. Now for the 0 key, which changes this changes the zoom on the scope. You can see the difference right there. There's one of the traders. Not sure what they're doing out there, but there they are. And there they are, not quite so close. So it does change the zoom on the scope. So I thought that was a really neat feature of this particular mod. So anyway, I hope you like that part as much as I do. Now, I mentioned something earlier about the suppressor, and as I was saying earlier, I had the pleasure of talking with the mod author online. And he was telling me about the mod, and he told me that the kanji letters on the suppressor actually mean Shibakari Industry suppressor number 013847. Now, I thought this was a nice, clever bit of detail, and I think it really adds to the mod. And I'm thinking this is sort of foreshadowing. I'm willing to bet we're going to see more offerings from this mod author, and he's going to be adding more and more details like this, and his mods are just going to knock everybody's eyes out. So anyway, alright, now that we've had a good look at the rifle, it's time for us to take it out and shoot some bad guys. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the action clips, and we will be back in a bit.
Did you hear something? Resuming combat operations.
As you saw from the action clips, I am way out of practice shooting in Fallout 4, but when I did hit with the Bulldog 308, it smacked the crap out of the bad guys. The rifle performed well in all of its permutations, and I particularly enjoyed using it in semi-auto mode. So now this is the part of the review where I give you my thoughts on the mod, and I'm going to start with the good bits. Now, as I mentioned before, it is powerful, and watching the fighting clips, you might even think it's OP, but keep in mind that my character's fighting skills and perks are pretty maxed out, so she does do extra damage. Looking at the base damage of the weapon, it seems pretty balanced to me, so go by that and not by what you're seeing in the clips just because of my character's perks and fighting skills. Now, the animations for reloading are smooth, and it works perfectly for all of the magazine types, both in third and first person, and it comes complete with some good sound effects. Now, both the fire selector and the scope magnification mechanisms work like a dream and really added to the functionality and fun of the mod. Finally, as I mentioned before, the lettering on the suppressor was a nice touch, and this is the kind of detail work that I'm hoping to see more of in future mods from Shibakuri. So now for the bits that need work, and I really hate kind of picking at somebody's hard work, but it's a review, so I got to. Now, first I'm going to start out with the textures. They seemed a bit smooth, and I think they could use a tweak to make them look more rugged. I've handled tons of military weapons before. I was in the United States Navy, so I've handled different firearms of different eras, and they generally feel and look more rugged. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, perhaps the mod author could even add different paint schemes to the mod as well, sort of a camouflage mod, that kind of thing. Now, there was some clipping with the 50-round magazine, but that's not really unusual with a custom weapon, so that is forgivable. Also, there is no animation for using the vertical grip, and I have seen this grip type used on other weapons complete with the animation, but I really have no idea how hard this would be to implement, and I'm trying to keep in mind that this is Shibakuri's first mod. Now, finally, there is an issue in the first-person view with the stock alignment with the rest of the rifle. I talked to the mod author about this, and he is actually looking for a solution for that problem, so keep an eye out for updates. Well, that's it, and as far as I'm concerned, the good bits of this mod far outweigh the bad, and Shibakuri did a wonderful job bringing this real-life weapon into the world of Fallout 4. And if this first mod from him is anything to go by, then we definitely need to keep an eye on his future mods. I highly recommend that you download this weapon and check it out. Now, if you like it as much as I do, please remember to endorse it, drop the author a compliment on the forums, and maybe vote it up for File of the Month. Well, that's it for the review. I hope you found it helpful, informative, and entertaining. If so, please remember to hit that like button, drop me a comment, and subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Once again, I am your host, Porterhouse, and I will see you all at the next review.